Hello everybody, I'm Rainbow and welcome to Dimensional Walking. I decided today what I would do is help Michael out and actually give him a day off from doing videos because he's so good at trying to give you guys different types of topics and information out there. And there was something kind of on my mind that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I thought it would be kind of fun today to kind of go into a topic that I think is very important for you to think about for the summer. And so what I'm going to be talking to you today about is paranormal predatory prowlers. And that sounds a little more sinister than what I intended it to be. But the reason why I wanted to bring it to your attention is because summer is upon us. And my gosh, it is so hot. And we were really lucky here because we had a lot of rain. But now it's like it's summer caught up and we're like, ugh. And I melt in the summertime. I like it cooler. So what I thought I would do is bring up something to your attention to hopefully remind you, maybe it's more of a reminder, and to help you remember to think about the fact that during the summertime, because so many people are out and we're having so much fun and people are going to the ocean and they're playing volleyball on the sand and having a great time getting a suntan, or people are going hiking in the mountains, or just festivals and flea markets and just going on vacation and traveling about. Just remember that paranormal predatory prowlers really come out during the summertime. And I'm going to say something that I stated that the paranormal to me doesn't have a time frame itself. But I think humans do, obviously. And so because of that, of course, these guys, the paranormal predatory prowlers, are going to be out in force because they know that we're out and they know that there's tons of humans about and enjoying themselves. And so what they're doing is they're standing back, watching, and waiting. And I think that's something very important for everybody to remember. And I actually just recently had something very interesting happen that I wanted to share with you guys. So about 3 days ago, I was trying to get to sleep, and sometimes I just can't sleep. I have a really busy day at work and I just can't get any sleep at all. And I'm thinking about different things and I'm tossing and I'm turning. And I actually happened to be in bed, and it was about 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock. And I turned over on my left and I was looking out the window, and we have a blind that doesn't meet the frame of the window. And so here's the side of the blind, and here's the frame, and there's about this much window that something outside could actually look in. And so I'm not too worried about stuff like that because usually around our home in the yard, I do my ceremony and I put out my intention of, this is my sanctuary. You don't come around my home if you're going to cause problems. So I don't think what I saw was a problem, but what I did see was peeking through this much of the window was a glowing face, a white glowing face, and an eye, and it was looking at me. And when I turned and when I was actually looking at it, it actually moved. And so I have a light to the left, and so its shadow was on the opposite side of the window, so I could see what it was moving. And I'm thinking, wow, that's really interesting, but I was too tired. I had to get to sleep because I had to wake up very early in the morning, and I thought, I just don't have the energy to deal with this right now. Then about 5 minutes later, I had something wonderful happen. And imagine like Tinkerbell with her little wand, and she's putting her wand out, and little sparkles of this amazing light, those sparkly lights going out. And so I noticed that the sparkly lights were coming through the window and actually coming into the bedroom. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really cool. And then I was thinking, well, in real life, I got to get to sleep, because if I don't get to sleep, I will be dead throughout the whole day of work tomorrow. And so I noticed that it kind of subsided and went away. And I finally went to sleep. And the next day I got up, and Mikey boy, he's really great, because he took me to work. So he takes me to work, and I'm trying to just think about what I have to do for the day. And so he picks me up from work, and actually I remembered that I had forgot to tell him, and so I eventually told him. And so he said, well, let me go outside and let me see kind of where this thing might have been and what you might think it was. And so he went outside, and this is the really interesting thing, is that where his head was here, and where this thing's head was up here. So this thing had to have been about 8 feet tall for it to be able to kind of look at me through this one part of the window. And so I'm thinking to myself, wow, what the heck could that have been? And so my empathic feelers kind of went out, and I didn't feel that it was something that was necessarily negative. It actually reminded me a little bit of a peeping Tom, something that was like, oh, this person's empathic, and they can kind of see me. And this isn't the first time in this window area where I've seen stuff. I've actually seen sparkly lights, white streaking lights going across. And so I think a lot of the fairy folk come out at night in this front area of our yard, because we have Douglas fir trees. And so it actually came out. They come out and they actually do their thing, whatever they do at night. But this came out, obviously, and it wanted to make itself known to me, because it didn't hide when it realized that I had seen it. And if I would have had the researcher wits about me, if I wouldn't have been so tired, I would have got up and I would have investigated. But I was just like, that versus not being able to function the next day, not being able to function the next day, won out. So I found that very interesting, but not unusual, because why? It's summer. So folks, just remember, you're going to be out in the woods. You're going to be hiking. You're going to be in your tents. And just remember that the human emotion, like Michael has many times discussed, attracts many of these entities. And so I just call them paranormal, predatory prowlers. Now, it doesn't mean that they're always like these dark and sinister kind of things. It just means that they prowl around and they look around, and they're very curious about us. And if you go into their neck of the woods, you're going to probably attract them to you. So a good rule of thumb, if you go camping in the forest, or if you actually go hiking in the forest, is to be respectful of the surroundings, and empathically, in any way you can, let whatever you think is out there, let them know that you come respectfully. Kind of put your intentions first before you head out. And when summer happens, I'm not surprised that more of these paranormal predatory prowlers come out. Now, shadow people, black-eyed kids, what else can we say? You name it. I don't want to include cryptids in that, because I don't see them as anything scary or bad. That's just my take on them. But if you have a dark paranormal spirits, poltergeists, whatever it is that you think are in your home, just remember that sometimes in the summer, because of our energy, the activity might go up. It spikes up. And just remember that. Those of you who are researchers and you like to go out and do investigations, just understand that because the energy is a little bit different in the summer, because we have different human cycles of energy in each season. But summer, we're real high. We just go out there and we're having fun. We're enjoying ourselves. We're out doing activities that wherever you go, the activities probably is going to be a lot higher and you're going to get more evidence. So just be aware of that. I think we're humans of seasons, and I think that these paranormal predatory prowlers actually understand that, and they kind of, I think probably summer's their favorite season of all. Also, protect yourself. Don't forget that if you are empathic, psychic, whatever, because an empath to me is someone who can feel the emotions of the moment. They can feel something in the moment. A psychic is somebody who can actually see the past, present, and future. They can kind of do a little bit different than an empath. But if you're any of the above, just understand that you need to protect yourself. It's very important to protect your family. And I always, whenever Michael and I go into the forest, we'll take little offerings because I think the fairy folk need you to acknowledge them. And I think that anytime you acknowledge anything in the forest, you're going to actually be on the win-win, scenario, because that is the whole point of going out into the forest, to actually have a good time. And so we want the forest folk to know that we're coming in with great respect. We don't mean any disrespect, and we just want to have fun. And actually, I'm always one of those people where I'm actually always hoping that I spot one, I get to see something out there. And a few times I've been very lucky, and I have seen something where my mind's going, oh, are you sure you saw that? What you saw? I know what I saw. So the little fairy folk have shown themselves to me, and they've shown themselves to Michael. So I think the bottom line here is just be aware of your surroundings. Understand if you're going hiking, you're in someone else's dining room, their home. Be respectful of the forest folk, the elementals, the fairies, the little people, we people, the cryptids. And just understand that while we're out there trying to enjoy ourselves, that we're kind of not intruding into where they're living, but we're actually kind of in the same area as where they are. So let's be respectful of that, and just be respectful of the fact that they live there too. So paranormal predatory prowlers, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is horrific and scary like in the scary movies. It just means that, because I know predator is something that hunts, but sometimes they just want to see what we're doing, and just be aware of that. Also be aware of the ones that are a little scary and cause problems. I think that's something that you always have to be aware of, no matter what season it is for us. Because I think time is different for us than it is for any of these other beings and entities. I don't think they probably have time like we do. So just remember that, be respectful, enjoy yourselves, have a great summer. If you have any stories that you want to share of maybe an experience that you had of a paranormal predatory predator, or I should say paranormal predatory, I can't even read my writing. This is pretty terrible. Paranormal predatory prowler. And if you have any stories of any paranormal predatory prowlers that you want to talk about, not necessarily scary, it doesn't always have to be scary, but just something that you think would be of interest, or maybe other people like to hear, comment down below and share it with us. If you have any questions about paranormal predatory prowlers, you want to know more, I may be doing an article on that for Paranormal Underground, then go ahead and ask me, and you can send me an email at dimensionalwalking@gmail.com. So I hope you enjoyed my little reminder here of what possibly can be out there. Just be awake and aware, be respectful, and also stand your ground. Let them know that, you are human, you are born here, and you have divine resonance here on this planet. So take care. I hope to see you guys again. Thank you for watching this video. And I'm not sure, I think the next video I'll be doing will be probably on that book review that I promised you guys. So take care, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.